What's going on, guys? Bankrupt Gamers here with more Armored Core 4 answer using the RPCS3 emulator. Last episode we made our way to fully committing to the Orca ending, and we're now on chapter 4. And this should be the last episode of this playthrough, and then we'll move on to get our last ending in the next playthrough. But going to kick things off with defend anti-satellite cannons to achieve our next ending, and that will set us on the right path to get that. And this can be quite a difficult mission. The armored core that we're going to be going up against has potential to do a lot of damage to you very quickly, so definitely want to destroy them as quickly as you can. And there'll be an arms fort as well that we have to destroy. It's quite a cool mission, but the arms fort isn't much of a threat. We've seen it before, but yeah, let's take it on and see how we do. So you can tell this mission is definitely important to Orca and their plan. We'll find out a little bit more what the closed plan is a little bit later on.
Commence mission. Protect the anti-satellite batteries while taking out the main enemy force.
You're Collard's Lynx? I've heard of you. So, Thermidor has approved you. I hope you live up to your reputation. I'll lead the attack with my assault cannon. Don't get in my way. It won't end well.
The first thing he wants to do is take out that arms fort. And you want to look down here. There should be a armor core facing coming towards you.
Next detected. Closing in on our location. BFF Strix quadruped.
If you can get some rocket shots off,
This was the best I could do.
it should go down quite easy.
You best turn tail and run, Wang Xiaolong. The battlefield is not a place for scheming old men.
Machine gun does do well for those as well. But yeah, that's actually this mission taken on. I think there is another armor core going around, but the guy that you're working with actually destroys it for you. Yeah, potentially a very cool mission, but we managed to complete it very quickly. If you don't manage to get those rocket shots off on the armor core that was heading towards us, they can definitely do a lot of damage. I'll be able to shut off their weapon in a second. But the machine guns that we had equipped and have been using throughout the playthrough do pretty good work getting yourself down. So thankfully we got an S rank, which is definitely a good result for that mission. And yeah, let's move on to the next mission.
Before the National Dismantlement War, corporations fought over control of the last frontier, outer space. In order to block each other's progress, they built lethal unmanned weapons called assault cells. As the fighting intensified, the planet's orbit became crowded with these assault cells. The path to space became completely blocked for mankind. Maximilian Thermidor made another proclamation. He said,
"The crimes committed by these companies are robbing humanity of its future. Eventually, they will destroy the entire planet. The National Dismantlement War and the Lynx War as well were waged to hide their crimes. Orca stands against them, fighting now to purge those sins. It is too late for compromises. Sacrifices must be made. The price we all must pay will be great. Atonement shall not be easy. The blame lies with all of us."
The anti-satellite batteries have already taken out their elite forces. Iteria is already halfway to obliteration. It should be easy enough now. We'll just pick off the most obvious targets first. When we're finished with those, they'll gladly return to the bargaining table. The old guard are quick to panic when what seems certain changes, especially those whose past successes have made them complacent.
So yeah, you can tell that definitely Orca might actually have the best intentions for the rest of humanity at heart. For the amount they sound like the bad guys in the way they speak, might not actually be the case. But for completing that mission, we unlocked an arm weapon and a shoulder weapon, so I'll show those off very quickly. And we got quite a few FRS units as well. Definitely gonna save the game after getting the S rank. So here's the arm weapon we unlocked. It's a very damaging laser weapon. You can see the attack power is pretty decent, but it's mainly the primal armor penetration is very strong. So if you compare it to a high laser rifle, which has only 6 shots, you can see it has 50 shots, and the attack power is quite a bit lower, but the primal armor penetration is actually very similar. So don't be fooled by the slightly lower attack power. This is statistically potentially a very, very good weapon. I've not messed around with it too much, but it does look very cool, almost like a Star Wars blaster. But we are going to do a little bit of customization in the shop as well. So just going to switch over to the Moonlight Blades. And then the shoulder equipment that we unlocked is an ECM maker. Unfortunately, we can't equip it if you're using the white glint arms. But yeah, I've never really messed around with ECM devices. I get the impression they're much more useful in PvP, but yeah, they have their uses. They're not something that we're going to be experimenting around with too much. Then we've got our FRS units. Just going to put those into our arms to make them more manoeuvrable, which should come in handy for the last mission of this playthrough. Save our tuning and customization quickly. The next mission we're going to be doing is another arms fort. Very cool, this one. Very different. And there's several ways you can go about it. Well, I suggest mainly focusing on its weak points. You can go in and just do as much damage with blades as you can. But we're just taking those for a backup in case we do run out of our rockets. But yeah, he's got quite a few attacks that you can use to destroy you, so you definitely want to make sure to stay as mobile as possible so you don't take any damage, because he will absolutely rip into your health. But hopefully he should go down pretty easily, and we do quite well at the mission, get a nice S rank. So we'll see how it goes. So you can tell they've definitely set this arms fort up to be a challenging foe. Let's see how we do.
Commence mission. Destroy the arms fort answerer.
So you want to focus on the different weak points. So if you target these dishes,
a massive amount of energy to keep this thing afloat. Start your attack run now.
Then destroy some of the weapons on the side.
It
Definitely want to watch out for
We can bring this
all the
thing back down to
missiles.
Earth.
That's the main bit that you need to watch out for, because they would actually absolutely tear up your health. But you can destroy the ports where they come out from, similar to the Spirit of Motherwell. We do want to keep our distance at the moment though. Just dodging side to side, making sure not to get hit by any missiles. And destroy these cannons as well. Thankfully they only take one shot. You can see dodging all these missiles definitely takes a toll on our energy. That is something that you want to be mindful of throughout the fight. So that's all the missile ports down. So now, the answer, it doesn't actually pose much of a threat. There is one more thing that we need to watch out for. So I recommend keeping your distance, making sure you're further away than the end of these points. To shoot at the other saucer bits on the side. And if you see these wing bits that come off the sides, if you look at where they join on and use your missiles to destroy them.
We're off balance. Almost there. Don't let up. Not much longer now. The Answerer is plummeting. Watch out.
So yeah, he can go down quite easily. One thing that he didn't show off for some reason, I'm not quite sure why he didn't use it. We might have hit a part that's important to the attack, is he does actually have assault armor, but he'll glow before he explodes with it. And then, like I said, if you keep your distance, it shouldn't do any damage to you. But if you're close, it will
Confirmed.
basically
The
take
Answerer
half your
has
health
been
away.
destroyed. Mission complete. So, this is the beginning of the end. You think it'll be easy?
But very cool armor swap battle. Very happy with that result as well. We did take a little bit of damage, but definitely not as much as we could have done. Definitely need to watch out for the missiles. I've never really found the cannons to be too much of an issue, but I've always destroyed them the first chance I get. So that just might be why they've never really posed much of an issue. But yeah, definitely happy with that result. Got a nice S rank and a big payout as well. And obviously using the rockets, the ammo costs aren't too high. But I'd say if you do run out of rockets, because you miss quite a lot of your shots or just target some of the wrong points, you can definitely just stay on the end of one of the long bits that sticks out the side and use your blades, and then as soon as you see any glow from the assault armor charging up, turn around or just quick boost back so you get a little bit of distance, and then after they use the assault armor, jump back in, blade away, and then just make sure to back off before the assault armor goes off again. So yeah, quite a cool fight. Would have been good if they showed off the assault armor, but for whatever reason they didn't use it. But I guess that makes things a little bit easier for us. So we'll carry on with this playthrough.
God have acquiesced. Now we just need to face the wretches headed for big blocks and take control of arterial cranium. Then the first phase of the closed plan will be complete. The energy used to support the cradles will be diverted to the anti-satellite batteries. So, who does what?
So it's interesting how Maximilian Thermidor is willing to die for the cause, whereas Windy Falchion in our previous playthrough in the mission at Big Box actually evacuates, sort of leaves the area after taking too much damage. So maybe Maximilian Thermidor is a little bit more committed to the cause than Reiter Palash is to theirs, and with Windy Falchion. But yeah, just an interesting point. But for completing that mission, we got an arm weapon and a back weapon, so I'll show those off now as well. Definitely going to save the game. And this is the last mission of this playthrough, but it's definitely a tough one. So one of the weapons we got is a laser rifle, and it's the one that Maximilian Thermidor was using. So if we compare it to the one that we just unlocked before, you can see it does a lot more damage and quite a bit more primal armor attenuation, but it doesn't penetrate primal armor as much. And also the energy costs and things like that are a little bit higher, and it's a little bit weaker in some of the other stats. It's a very cool looking gun though. Then the other thing we unlocked is a PM missile. I'm not actually quite sure what PM missile stands for, but this fires off 4 missiles that fly up and then home in on the target. They tend to have very good tracking. Also looks really cool. Almost looks like it should be 4 machine guns, similar to this one that we've unlocked. But yeah, I do like the way this part looks. In terms of our build though, we're just going to be switching back over to our machine guns on our arms, and then keeping our rockets on our shoulders or our back slots. Just going to save our customization quick and head on to the last mission. And this one's quite cool. It's similar to the ending mission for our first playthrough, but we're on the other side of things. So we're going to be going up against Windy Falchion and another armored corps. I can't remember the other armored corps' name though. But instead of there being 2 of us, it will be us versus 2 other armored corps. So it's a little bit more difficult than last playthrough potentially. But hopefully, if we get a lot of damage out first thing, it shouldn't be too difficult of a mission. We should be able to get a decent S ranking. But yeah, let's take it on, see how we do.
Links of Collard. Thermidor here. If you are listening to this message, then I am already dead. Most likely at the Arteria Cranium. Maltzel will not return alive from Big Box. That leaves you as the sole surviving member of Orca. I'm asking you to do this in my stead. Take the cranium. If you succeed, the Cradle's last support will be gone, and mankind will be forced to return to the surface. Then the anti-satellite batteries can use the energy from the Cradles to eliminate the assault cells and clear our path to space. It is all up to you now. Do this for your fellow Orca warriors and for all humanity.
So you can see it's definitely the more difficult path to take for humanity in the short term, but seeing as the world's been pretty messed up by the corporations and the wars they've waged and all the Kojima pollution, seems like it's a good idea to escape the planet and let it heal, then maybe come back in the future. So that's probably the reason why it's definitely my favourite ending, just because it's, like I said, it's a little bit more hopeful for the future, rather than things not really changing like they do in our previous ending that we achieved. But yeah, hopefully we'll do well for this mission. I might not be able to talk too much through it, just because I will be focusing. But first thing we're going to want to do is go out and get on as much damage on the armored core that we can see with our missiles, and then see if we can get a bit of damage on RPCS as well as they come in, and then finish them off with their machine guns, with our machine guns as they get close. Let's see how it goes.
Target the two next, Ryder Palash and Mindless. You've chosen your answer. Now see it through.
Our guests have arrived, Wendy. Right on schedule.
You don't hesitate to kill for humanity, do you? Then lay down your own life, like Thermidor before you.
Not the smoothest ending to my career. Wendy, I'm sorry. I wasn't much help.
Ryder Palash has been destroyed. So ends Phase 1 of the closed plan. You are the sole remaining Orca member.
To treasure a life, is that something to laugh at? Everything is twisted. You, this world, all of it.
Orca took control of Cranium. Without the energy needed to support them, the cradles fell to Earth. In the devastation and poisoned air of the planet's surface, infants coughed feebly in the arms of their despairing mothers, while the anti-satellite batteries continued their steady charge. When their power is finally unleashed, the web of assault cells over the planet will be destroyed, the sins of the corporations purged. Even as humanity is decimated, they will discover a new frontier, outer space. A new direction at last. It will be a time of growth, of ambition, and of war.
And there's the credits again. So that is our second playthrough completed. That last mission actually went a lot better than I was expecting, and definitely went a lot better than the last time I played through the game. I find that normally Ryder Palash comes in a lot sooner and is a lot more aggressive and moves around a lot more, so she's quite difficult to hit with the missiles, and she tends to use the pulse sort of machine gun that she's got on her back as well, so you can't fire rockets to hit her because she blows them up as you fire them and it does loads of damage to you. But thankfully she sort of stayed back a little bit strangely, and we managed to get some rockets on her, so we actually destroyed her before she was any much of a threat at all. Yeah, thankfully that went really well, so I hope we got an S rank. I'll check on that in a second. Yeah, tips for that mission is very similar to the ending of our first playthrough, where you just want to stay as mobile as you possibly can and maybe use the terrain to your advantage a little bit. Although I have found that both the armoured cores in that mission tend to get stuck a lot less on the terrain, so using the terrain sort of to your advantage will help slightly less, and obviously you haven't got any partners to distract the enemies. But yeah, just really happy with that result. I'm not quite sure I managed to get so lucky, but it does show that as well, that if you are struggling with the mission, it's worth retrying it over and over again, because you never know, you might get lucky and it might just make things really easy for you, like it did for us there. Yeah, just trial and error sometimes. But yeah, like I said as well, that is my favourite ending, just because though it's a bit harsh in the short term, it definitely looks like it's looking for the better result in the long term. And I know the Armored Core 6 story isn't related to these previous games, but also with the fact of humanity exploring space and going into space might allow us to tie that game into the previous centuries if we want to. But yeah, for completing that mission, we got an arm weapon. I'm not even going to try saying that. And a back weapon as well, so I'll show those off. It's something really cool as well with completing your second playthrough and doing the Collard and Orca stories, and completing both of those all the way through, is that you do unlock all the parts available for purchase. So you basically your money does become a little bit useless now, but any parts that are available in the shop are available to use in your assembly, so they don't cost you anything, which is quite handy. But there are still parts you can unlock by completing missions again on our next playthrough, and also completing missions on hard. So there's still a few things hidden in the game that you can unlock. Definitely going to save the game, and then we get the chance to restart again and enter our next New Game Plus. So that's just the intro cutscene again, and as you can see, we're back at the start of the game. Just going to check out our mission rating, and as you can see, we got a nice S rank for that one. But just looking in the shop quickly, I'll show off the things that we unlocked. You can see that all the parts are now ours, so it gives us full freedom to customise our armour core, which is really cool. I hope Armour Core 6 does something similar. You know, there's a way to unlock all the parts, or even just give us a ridiculous amount of money that we don't need to worry about buying all the parts. So the first weapon we unlock is this high laser rifle, but it actually fires 2 shots at once, and it's got a lot more ammo as well than the one that we had before. But you can see its attack power is a little bit less. Well, considering it does fire 2 shots, it's still quite a lot less. But the primary armor penetration is still very high. It's got a very high velocity of a projectile, good range, very, very powerful weapon. The energy cost though is quite high, so definitely want to make sure you have a good generator if you plan on using it. It does make scrolling through everything a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Then the other part that we unlocked is the thing that Windy Falchion was using, which is another high laser cannon. And if we compare this to this advanced model here, I'll do it the other way around. You can see again the attack power isn't the highest, but its primary armor penetration is very, very high. It also fires 2 projectiles at once, so similar to the arm weapon that we unlocked. You can basically double the attack power. Very good stats again, and you can see it's actually quite energy efficient, but don't be fooled, you definitely want to have a good generator for if you're planning on using this weapon. We also have unlocked all the body parts as well, so again it just really gives you full freedom to flesh out your build in any way, shape or form that you want, and yeah, take things in any direction that you'd like. So I think that is a really cool feature of the game. But we'll wrap this episode up here and then make our way with the third playthrough. And for the next playthrough, I'm actually going to switch over to one of the other armor cores that we could have started the game with, just to show that off a little bit, and it will be a lightweight machine. So that means that all things will be included in this walkthrough series. You know, we've seen medium weight machines, obviously got a bit of white glint in there, you've got to do it, definitely the coolest machine in the game in my opinion. We've also seen a heavy build, and next episode we'll get on our way to seeing a light build and seeing how that's different. Definitely a very cool play style, very fun, but also very difficult. But we'll explore that a little bit more next episode. But thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far and enjoyed that episode. Things definitely went a lot better than I was expecting, so very happy with the way it turned out, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.